Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. Hello, and welcome back to another live stream. How's everybody doing today? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Or good day, depending on where you're from. Hello, 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 and welcome back to another stream. Very excited to get back on here with everyone. Another day, another learning opportunity, another chance to gain more conviction in our model. Conviction is built through experience. Got to submit to time so that we can obtain that experience. And through time, we will have more conviction. So let's get prepared for another New York Open. Take a minute to say hi to the community and welcome everybody to the stream. Then we will get into our game plan for the day. We will build a game plan, and then we will execute that game plan. So I hope everybody's day is going well. I hope everybody's week is going well. See who we have here for today. Good morning, Mr. Nobody. Good morning, One Girl Trader. Good morning, Tyree. Good morning, It's Nay. Good morning, Melly. Good morning, Mario. Good morning, Saju. Good morning, Trading Titans. Good morning, Uturo. Good morning, Govna. Good morning, Higher Up. Good morning, Trader Tai2. Good morning, Anton. Good morning, Caesar. Good morning, Trader Kyra. Gordon, what's up? Alex, what's up? Ed, what's up? HMH, how are you doing today? Vic Trades, good morning. Makio, good morning. Tad, good morning. Muhammad, good morning. Kelvin, what's up? Duke, what's up? Rama, what's up? Carlos, what's up? Good morning, Frank. Good morning, German. Good morning, Malcolm. Good morning, Francis. Good morning, Zyro. Good morning, Tevin. Good morning, Two Chains. Good morning, Gaetano. Mohammed, what's up? Tatiana, what's up? Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Dean. Good morning, the Bull Shark. Hello, hello, hello. I hope everybody's week is going well. Hope everybody's day is going well. Just taking a moment to say hi to the community. Then we'll start to get prepared for our session. Good morning, Daniel. Good morning, Johannes. Good morning, Joret. Good morning, Mario. Irfan, what's up? Ahmed, what's up? Leslie, how are you doing today? Ronnie, what's up? Kim Yu, what's up? Zicky, what's up? Ahmed, good morning. OGT, good morning. Luke, good morning. Rav, good morning. Muhammad, what's up? AO Washington, good morning. Gen X Trader Dad, good morning. Rodrigo, good morning. By Mac, what's up? Alex, good morning. John, good morning. Ganesh, good morning. Dave, good morning. Jackie, good morning. Darts, good morning. Simon, good morning. L, good morning. Wolf of Trading, how are you doing today? Ezekiel, good morning. Hassan, good morning. Mateo, good morning. Sap Chim, good morning. Stefanos, good morning. Barshad, good morning. Hope everybody's day is going well. Hope everybody's week is going well. Abel, good morning. Usman, good morning. Salim, good morning. Mike, good morning. Stanley, good morning. Sonic, good morning. Jackie, good morning. Edward, good morning. Hello, hello, hello. Jack, good morning. Let's see how everybody's week is going so far. Throw a 1 in the chat if you're green on the week. Throw a 2 in the chat if you're red on the week. Throw a 3 in the chat if you have yet to taking a trade this week. Kevin, good morning. Rafi, good morning. How's everybody doing today? A bunch of 1s and a bunch of 3s. Looks like there is less amount of 2s, which is good to hear. For all the people that have 3s, very good job being patient. There has been and will always be another opportunity. So there's never a reason to rush into anything. There's never a reason to have a fear of missing out. There will always be another opportunity. The majority of the time in this business is spent doing nothing. So if you're incapable of being patient, then you're going to have a hard time making progress in this business. Day trading is not everyday trading. Okay? For example, I'm currently averaging 1 trade a week. So that means 4 days out of the 5 days of the week, I'm doing nothing. Patience is truly a virtue. You're going to have to learn delayed gratification. This is not the lottery. One position is never going to make a difference in your life. So stop treating it that way. Stop having the euphoric mindset that one trade is going to change your entire life. That's not going to happen. Okay, patience is a virtue. We have to develop a plan, and we have to execute that plan. We need to have a model so that we have justifications to our actions, reasons why or how we do things. Right, and this morning was a phenomenal example. There's something that I put on Twitter because I was looking to see who has a model. Who has justifications to their actions? So this is what you saw on my Twitter post this morning, right here. I'm going to pull it up. Here it is here. Take this off now. Garbage. All right, so this is what you saw on my Twitter post this morning. A bullish unicorn from a bullish hourly FVG after the daily just tapped a bullish FVG. And I asked everybody on Twitter, would you take this position? Yes or no? I specifically asked that because of the timing. Look at the time that this trade was confirmed. 7:05. 7:05. When does New York Open begin? Throw it in chat for anybody that knows. When does New York Open begin? What is the opening time for New York Open? Right? So the next thing I have to say is we talk about this all the time. Time is our most important element. We look to confirm our criteria during the opening times. It is very clear. It is very clear that this setup was confirmed at 7:05 before the opening time. Right? So the individuals that said, no, I wouldn't take this trade because time is the most important element, this is outside of the kill zone, they were correct. And look at what they saved themselves from. A losing trade. You have to realize that we're not pattern day traders. We don't simply execute a position because there's a pattern shown on the screen. Right? Anytime this pattern is shown on the screen, swing low, swing high, new low, new high, just because this is on the screen, that does not mean we trade it. You have to provide logic to your decision making. That logic is what's going to provide profitability. Right? So the logic that I'm sitting here saying is the reason why I would not touch that trade is because this position was confirmed before the opening time. And I don't execute before the opening times. I need my entry function to be confirmed during the opening times. So anybody that's acting impulsively because they saw a position on the screen, instead of thinking logically, well, you just had a loss there. And that's the point that I'm trying to get across here. Is that this business is not a work harder, make more money. This is a work smarter, not work harder. The logic that you provide to your decision making is going to make a difference in your profitability. Then, more importantly, it then comes down to the mental and emotional intelligence to align those actions with those words. You have to be mentally and emotionally strong enough to say, no, I'm not taking this position. I don't care what's on the screen right now. It doesn't follow my model. Right? I don't care who's posting the position on the internet. Everyone is capable of being wrong. I don't care who you are. Everyone gets position wrong. So there's no reason to ever have a signal service, right? Thinking that somebody else is about to take a position, therefore you go and take a position because of it. That's the worst way forward. Playing follow the leader is a horrible idea. Develop a model, execute that model, then have the mental and emotional intelligence to follow those rules. It's not about being in the market all the time. It's about protecting your bottom line. I guarantee you that you guys could get rid of a lot of your losing trades by taking less trades. Day trading is not everyday trading. Less is more. All right, so now that we've gone over the pre-market information and New York has opened, we can develop our game plan for the day. Here it is here. It's the same as always. Time is our most important element. We look to participate during the opening times. So we have New York open here. Right, New York open just occurred. So we're following our game plan. We're looking to participate during the opening times. Next comes bias or draw on liquidity. Those two things mean the same thing. Whatever price is reaching for. Right? Whatever you think price is reaching for. That's what a bias is, or draw on liquidity. So let's take a look. The way that I determine a bias is on the daily chart. This is what I have to say about bias. Price tapped into a bullish FVG here. At this same time, there is bullish SMT against NQ. Right, so let's go look at the lows on NQ real quick. You can see that NQ left that as this gap open, while NQ also made higher lows. So ES tapped into a bullish FVG, giving me a bullish bias, along with there being bullish SMT at the lows. For that reason, I'll be looking for higher prices today. Right, so now we've completed the second part of our game plan. Then the last part of our game plan is entry function. And everybody here knows that I use the unicorn model. Right, so we have a bullish bias. It is New York Open. We will go in looking for bullish entry functions. That's creating a game plan. Now it comes down to executing that game plan. Can you be patient enough to wait for your entry function? Or will you be the individual to change your model and execute some other kind of entry function? It's very simple for me. I only execute the unicorn model. I don't use any other kind of entry function. Either the entry function is shown on the screen and I'll take it, or I don't trade. Okay, so last thing that I have to say is we have to understand the important times on the economic calendar as well. You can see here that the only red folder we have today is during the PM session. You have to also understand that FOMC minutes is completely different than FOMC press conference or FOMC statement. This is not the high impact folder that you think it is. FOMC statement or press conference is the high impact folder that you're thinking of. This is different. It's also during the PM session. So I'm not nearly as concerned as if we had a 10 a.m. red folder, right? A red folder during our session. Okay, so not concerned about the red folder because it's during the PM session and it's not the high impact FOMC statement. It's FOMC minutes meeting. Okay, so we'll wait and we'll see. We have a bullish bias, so we're looking for a bullish entry function. Right, so far during New York Open, we got a stop hunt here. Let's see if price can displace through the highest up close candle before the leg down that took liquidity. That would be our breaker block. We would also need to see an FVG aligned with the breaker block. So nothing is confirmed yet. I'm simply preparing. We will wait to see if we get the displacement and the FVG aligned with the breaker block. Take a look at ES as well. ES also has the stop hunt here, but would still need to wait for the displacement through the breaker block. right? This is not a breaker until it confirms the displacement through the breaker block. So we'll wait and watch. We'll be patient and wait for our entry function to be confirmed. Now, if you're finding any value in the stream, do me a favor, like the video, sub to the channel. We go live every single week. We provide educational content every single week. If you're getting any value from it, do me a favor, like the video and sub to the channel. That way you can be notified for any time we go live again. As we're waiting and watching, if you want to throw any questions or comments in the chat, feel free to do that. We can go over any questions as we're waiting for an entry function. The 1 minute NQ appears to have formed an entry function. So knowing my own data, knowing my prior results, that's why I don't go down to the 1 minute chart. The majority of my losses have occurred on the 1 minute chart. For this reason, that's why I'm not interested in taking 1 minute trades. All right, so we'll go look because you're mentioning it. I do agree with what you're saying here, right? Stop hunt. Right, I'll point it out here. Right, I agree with what you're saying. You have a stop hunt, you have a breaker block, you have an FEG aligned with it. And I'm sitting here saying I will not be taking this trade because I know my prior data. I know that the 1 minute chart is too noisy. There's too many price fluctuations. And for that reason, I'm not interested in this. You are correct. Yes, this is a breaker block. Yes, it does have an FEG aligned with it. Right, so this is in fact a bullish unicorn. I agree with what you're saying, but I'm here to tell you, knowing myself, knowing my prior data, that's the reason why I'm saying I will not be touching this. I'll be on the 5 minute chart looking for a 5 minute trade. See if ES has it as well. ES is not as clean. I don't like the way that it looks on ES. So I will not be watching this. I'm not interested in 1 minute trades. Let's get back to the 5 minute chart. There are smooth edges in Asia session, right? Let's look at Asia session. Yes, both Asia session high and London session high have yet to be mitigated. Right, you can see them here. Asia session high, London session high. Do you still execute even though it's an inside day? If so, why? Inside day, right? That just means consolidation, right? If you know how to use a consolidation profile, you can still execute. That's not a determination on whether I will execute or not. It's not something I consider. We know how to use we know how to use consolidation profiles, right? Best opportunity in a consolidation profile presents itself at the extreme of the range, back to equilibrium of the range. You can still execute in consolidation profiles. Ash, you always talk about institutional swing points to validate the breaker block. The range you use for these NQ and ES breaker blocks is very interesting. First time I see you using it. You have a swing low here, right? Institutional swing points is a swing high or a swing low. Swing low, swing high, new low, right? And then a breaker block is the highest up close candle before the leg down that took liquidity. Ready? So let's draw it down here first, and then we'll point to it on the screen. Swing low, swing high, new low, new high. The breaker block will always be found in the initial swing low to swing high in this leg here. We need the highest up close candle in this leg here. Right? So it's the same thing. Swing low, swing high, new low. Right? We never got the new high, so this is not a breaker block either way. But the highest up close candle in this leg here would be these two candles, the one that I pointed to. The definition to a breaker block will always remain the same for bullish and bearish breakers. There's a 1 hour SIBI above price on NQ. Do we ignore it because it already fully mitigated? What do you mean by ignore it? This one here? That was during pre-market. I'm concerned with the most recent information. This is where we're currently located. We're currently located at a bullish change in the state of delivery that also has a bullish fair value gap. I'm most interested in what's currently happening. I'm not looking at this up here. I need to be concerned with where price is currently located. Right, we're sweeping a swing low and dealing with a bullish change in the state of delivery. That's what I'm currently looking at. Are the 1 hour stat map... excuse me. I'm not sure if you answered this already, but are the stat map levels not important? Yes, they are important. Right, here's the stat map right here. This shows you the consolidation profile, right, that we were talking about earlier. Somebody had mentioned an inside bar. We have yet to leave the original range that the day is developing, right? Here's the range here. The range is always manipulation level to manipulation level. This will be a range on the day. If there are any range traders in chat, they should know how to use ranges, right? Wait until we get to an extreme of the range and develop your information here, right? What happens at the extreme of the range? Do we manipulate the extreme of the range and look for a move back to the equilibrium of the range? Or do we displace through the range, showing continuation lower or higher, depending on which side of the range you're at? So yes, they are important. That's why I have the indicator. For a 50K Apex account, what is the contract size for one-step eval passing? I'm not going to go over one shot, one kill right now. Today is not a day to be doing a one shot, one kill. I'm also trying to implement my plan. Right? I created a game plan. I'm looking to execute it. So my focus right now is obtaining a trade, not one shot, one kill. How do you use SMT in your model? At a higher time frame gap, look for SMT once we've tapped into that gap, then look for an entry function. Right? Bullish 1 hour FVG. When we tap into that bullish 1 hour FVG, look for bullish SMT. Once you see those two things, then go look for a bullish unicorn. Then execute. That's how you use SMT. Right, here's what SMT looks like. This is bullish SMT. Right, here's NQ. Here's ES. Higher time frame level. Right, when we tap into a higher time frame level, when you see two correlated assets have a crack in correlation, right, ES made a higher low when NQ made a lower low. This is what bullish SMT is. Higher time frame level. Once we tap into it, look for SMT. Once you have those two things, then execute a unicorn model. M1 would have failed already. Yep. Get off the M1 chart. That's what I was trying to explain when we were looking at it. Stop trading the M1 chart. Hey man, first I thought this dude is stupid. He doesn't trade on 1 minute chart. Then I gathered my own data from losing trades and found my edge and corrected my mistakes. So it sounds like your M1 trades have the most amount of losses as well. And also, what does that have to do with being stupid? That has nothing to do with, like, that doesn't make any sense. Which candle is our higher low on NQ? Which one you are on? There's no trade on the chart. That's why I haven't pointed to anything. Why there's no position shown on the chart. I'm waiting for my model. It has not appeared yet. For that reason, there's nothing shown on the chart. I'm not going to outline a trade that is not present. I asked, do you use daily profiles as extra confirmation? Yeah, we do use daily profiles. It is not a must-have. It's just a confluence to an idea. Is 2R compulsory for the setup? Well, you have to look inward for that answer, right? Are you an individual that raises stop losses above break even? Or are you an individual that does a fixed 1 to 2 risk to reward? Which one fits better for your mental and emotional state? Which one are you better at executing? Just because I do a fixed 1 to 2R doesn't mean you have to. This is where you become an independent thinker by looking at your prior data to see what the best results are. Can you pull up stat map? Yeah, I already did that. Here it is again. We're just currently inside the range. Here's stat map for ES. Here's the kill zone and pivots. The one that shows the different sessions. How do you pair the hour one with the 5M? The daily is my bias. I use internal to external or external to internal to develop a bias. I do that on the daily chart. Then I go to the hourly chart and I use swing highs, swing lows, and FVGs as higher time frame points of interest to execute an entry function from. Then I go to the 5-minute chart and look for entry functions from those higher time frame levels that are in line with my bias. So you don't trade the 1-minute chart anymore. Like I said earlier, the 1-minute chart has the majority of my losses, so I'm doing everything I can to stay off the 1-minute chart. I'm looking to only execute the 5-minute chart because of it. If the unicorn model was confirmed on ES but not on NQ, would you take the trade on ES or wait for NQ? The chart that you find your entry function on is the chart that you trade. Right? The only time you're comparing two charts is to look for SMT. I'm not looking to compare whether one chart has the trade versus one chart doesn't. The only time I'm comparing two charts is for SMT. I don't sit there and say, oh, one has the unicorn model and one doesn't. That doesn't mean anything to me. Trade the chart that the model is found on. If you're looking to compare charts, do that for SMT, not for the model. Can you please use the stat map indicator and show us how you use it? Go to my YouTube channel. Under the Ash Chats playlist, we had an interview with Juno. Watch that video. It explains exactly how we use the stat map. Or you can go to the other playlist of the 2 degrees playlist, where there's a video that documents exactly how I use the stat map. There's multiple videos on that on my YouTube already. Ash, NQ daily most recent information was price being above a prior high, so our bias should not have been bearish, or SMT overpowers it. So here's what I have to say about that. Daily chart. If you're pointing to this right here, right, the swing high, if that's what you're pointing to, we displaced through that swing high. Invalidation to a bias is the presence of displacement. When we go above a swing high, I don't want to see a bullish FVG going through that swing high. The presence of displacement is invalidation to a bias. If we were bearish at this swing high, we would not have created this bullish FVG. We would have just wicked the high and closed back inside the range. It's important to note that invalidation to a bias is the presence of displacement. I'm not bearish. And this is the most recent information here. We're creating bullish FVGs. Why not use both mean and median as calculation method? Once again, just watch the stat map videos on my playlist. It documents everything regarding stat map. We talk about mean and median in that video. Is the 5-minute bullish unicorn on CL overextended, or would you consider it still? The 9 a.m. candle. This is not, I would not call this a bullish unicorn. 9 a.m. candle. I would not call this a bullish unicorn. This is what we need for a bullish unicorn. Swing low, swing high, new low, new high. This is what you get. You get a move lower, then you get a move higher. Swing low is down here. We never swept it. It's not a bullish unicorn. Don't you think we changed the order flow to bearish on the hour 4 time frame? We're now going to daily FEG on NQ. I don't analyze the hour 4 time frame. Right, my time frame alignment is the daily as the bias, the hourly as my higher time frame point of interest, then the 5-minute as my entry function. I don't sit there and compare the daily to the 4-hour. You need less time frames because you don't want to fall into information overload. My own analysis showing me bearish on NQ. Very good job. You should always listen to yourself and not somebody else. Being an independent thinker is the best way forward. Hey Ash, now that you take trades from 8:30, how do you handle the 9:30 open? Same way as any other day. 9:30 injects volatility. Expect volatility at 9:30. If you're not willing to take the risk, don't take any risk. If you're willing to risk volatility, then accept the risk before the risk has been taken and execute your plan. Good morning, Ash. Would you consider the 5-minute breaker on ES as a potential setup? What breaker? Where I don't see any breaker here. I don't see a breaker on ES. It's just been consolidating ever since the open. When did you change from looking for trades from 9:30 to 8:30? January 1st. Anybody that's in my Discord would know that. Hey Ash, my brother is skeptical about macro trading models like Unicorn, arguing that lack of solid mathematical foundation and prefers purely mathematical trading methods. What's your take on this? He could trade however he would like to trade. I'm not here to tell somebody whether they're right or wrong. The only thing that matters is profit or loss. If he's profitable, tell him to keep doing what he's doing. It doesn't matter how you trade. The only thing that matters is you having a model and you executing that model. Any model works. It doesn't matter what model you use. Hey Ash, what do you think about the hour 1 inverse? I don't use inversions. Hey Ash, when would you consider a breaker invalidated? Here's a bullish breaker. You must have a swing low. You must have a swing high. You must have a new low, then a new high. The breaker will always be found in the initial swing low to initial swing high. You need to look for the highest up close candle before the leg down that took liquidity. For my model, I want to see an FVG aligned with the breaker block. Right, that's what a unicorn is. Entry is at the beginning of the breaker. Put a stop at the low. Aim for 2R. Right, so here's your invalidation level. The swing point. Hi Ash, is the 15-minute to 1M setup a good example? Example of what? What are we looking at here? You got to be a little more direct with your questions. I don't know what you're looking at. 15M to 1M example. What example? Bullish, bearish? Was the example from today? $15M bearish FVG, then 1 minute breaker. Take a look. Yeah, so you have a, if you're talking about this right here, 15M bearish FVG. This is 930. You do sweep a swing high. I just don't like this because you're shorting out the lows. Like, yeah, it worked out great, but right, we're also sweeping the lows here too. This yes, it's a continuation play. This is very sloppy, right? Look at how much time it took to get through the breaker block. The FVGs are already rebalanced before you get an entry. I don't like this play. No. It's not very clear. I once again advise getting off the 1 minute chart as well. It seems as if everybody's going down to the 1 minute chart because they need to have a trade. That's what I was trying to talk to you guys about this morning. It's not a matter of finding a trade every day, right? Like today, I have no trade yet, and I have no issue with that. You'll realize at some point in time that less is more, quality over quantity. We do not need to take a trade every single day. Don't go down to the lower time frames in hope to find a trade. You're going to get chopped up on the 1 minute chart. Do you recommend a beginner watch multiple charts? If you want to watch NQ and ES, that's the only thing that I would recommend. Ash is too funny to me. In the matter of fact type of way. YouTube days, both educational and entertaining while at the gym on Wednesdays. I need to get to the gym myself. That is exactly where I'll be heading after this. Hopefully you're enjoying the gym. Take a look at RTY. Definitely very clear swing points, right? You have the swing low, you have the swing high, the new low. Just need to wait for the displacement. Clear and decisive displacement through the breaker that leaves an FVG aligned with it. Very nice after sweeping out all these lows here. So you have the higher time frame point of interest as well. Lots of consolidation. I mean, there's clearly no interest in moving any direction. Just like this is, geez. But that would make sense. Consolidation profile, right? Sweep the extreme of the low, extreme of the range, excuse me. Swept the extreme of the range here. See if it sets up a unicorn here to then target equilibrium of the range. Hi Ash, back when you would normally trade the 1M, what would be your criteria? The model doesn't change no matter what time frames you use. 4 hour would be your bias. 15 minute would be your higher time frame point of interest. 1 minute would be your entry function. The model remains the same. Do you lose interest in taking trades past 11 o'clock? Yeah, that's when I go to the gym. Like, I don't even look at the chart at that point in time. Right? So, like, for today, you guys saw the game plan. That I'm sitting here providing my logic and my decision-making in real time. I was looking for higher prices. Higher prices has not happened yet. There's also no bullish entry function on the screen. So notice how having the wrong bias does not mean losing money. That is, if you're following your model, right? Because this hasn't shown up yet right here. Since this hasn't shown up yet, there's no trade to take. So it doesn't matter if my bias is wrong. It doesn't matter if my game plan is wrong if there's no risk taken. That's why it's so important to have a model. To have, you know, to focus on being process driven over results driven. Have a defined model, then execute that defined model. Hi Ash, in some cases you put your stop loss a few points below the breaker. Just put it at the swing low every time. Right, just make it mechanical. Instead of questioning it, there's no decision to make here. Just always put it at the swing low. Entry at the beginning of the breaker, stop loss at the swing low, aim for 2R. Just make it mechanical. Make it a defined location. You trade RTY? No, I don't. Somebody else in chat mentioned it, so I looked at it real quick. Patience today. Let it come to you. If it does not come to you, it isn't worth the risk. Less is more. Gain the conviction to slow down. That is perfect. Amazing information there, Ziki. Thank you for sharing that. Just for study purposes, is the 725 and 730 candles a bearish unicorn? 730 and 735. Right here. Swing high, swing low, new high, new low. Right? So lowest down close candle in the initial swing high to swing low. There is an FVG aligned with it. So the 730 candle and 735 would be the correct bearish unicorn there. Maybe it's on NQ that you're referring to. NQ is all three of these candles. 725, 730, 735. Hey Ash, let's say you go to the gym without having a setup shown in this session. Then come back and see that our higher target hasn't been hit yet. Do you then trade the PM session? No. My trading hours are from 8:30 to 11 o'clock. That's it. I don't change my model. I execute my model. It doesn't, the results are a byproduct of the process. I develop a game plan. I execute the game plan. The results don't determine my future actions, right? Today, it looks like it's going to be a no trade day. I had a bullish bias this morning. There has not been a bullish entry function yet. Therefore, I have not taken a trade. After this, I'm going to go to the gym. After the gym, I'm going to work on a different business. Just because I didn't have a trade this morning does not mean I change my process. I don't change my hunting hours. Both NQ and ES has closed the hour 1 FVG and no entry function. Does that mean we can call it a day? I am close to calling it a day here. Probably give it another 15 to 20 minutes. The hour 1 FVG is not what determines that. Right? We also swept a swing low here. So we still have a higher time frame point of interest to work off of. So the higher time frame point of interest is not what determines that. It's my hunting session. Right, my hunting session is about to be over. If that's the case, then I'll be done trading. Do you need an hour 1 POI to be aligned with your 5-minute entry? Yes. Look for longs below old swing lows and bullish FVGs. Those are the hourly points of interest I look for longs. Look for shorts above swing highs and bearish FVGs. Those are the hourly points of interest that I look for short entry functions. Hey Ash, how do you approach the market when you have an unclear bias? Anytime you cannot definitively identify your information, do nothing. If you cannot clearly define your model, if you cannot clearly define your time, if you cannot clearly define your bias, anytime you cannot clearly define your information, do not risk. Do nothing. Hey Ash, why don't you trade forex? There's way too much manipulation between brokers, right? If you go and look at different brokers, the chart will look different depending on the broker. That's because the broker's manipulating. Also, there's way too much spreads in forex. right? If I were to go try to set a limit order at 61.32, you're probably going to get entered at 61.35. The spreads are way too large. You can't have any kind of accuracy. Like in futures, when I set a limit order for 61.32, I get entered at 61.32. Right, so that spread and that manipulation between the brokers, it's not worth it. So still nothing here yet today. I'm more than happy with being flat. Once again, less is more. Quality over quantity. Told you guys the game plan. I'm executing the game plan. Right? I had a bullish bias. There has not been a bullish entry function on the screen. Therefore, I'm not taking a trade. I'll continue to be patient. I'll continue to keep waiting. If there's no entry function by the time my hunting hours are done, then I have no trade for the day, and I'm going to go to the gym and continue the rest of my day. Everybody that's asking for a breaker, there's no breaker on the screen. Anytime I see a breaker, I outline it. That's why there's nothing on the screen. Price is just consolidating here. Right? Like, what is this? We're just going up and down and up and down. And look at this. Ready? This is what price is currently doing. And this is what I want. Can you see the difference there? Stop trying to force yourself upon price. If price is not showing you what you want, then just wait. I'm not going to point to anything here because there is nothing on the screen. There is no breaker. This is what we're dealing with right now, right? Look how disgusting this looks. This is what I want over here. Maybe this will help too. Do you see any breaker here? No, there's no breaker on the screen. So there's nothing to point to. There's nothing to do. Just remain patient and keep waiting. No breaker. All right, we're just heading lower right now. That's it. Thing is like the way to get a better win rate is to avoid unnecessary losses. That's what's happening right now. I'm avoiding taking an unnecessary loss by doing nothing. There is nothing that I'm interested in on this screen. It doesn't matter that my bias was wrong. I'm not trying to force myself upon price. Just because I have an opinion of wanting to see higher prices, that does not mean we are going to get higher prices. Price can and will do whatever it wants whenever it wants to. The only time you should be engaging with price is when it fits the justifications to your actions. And the justifications to my actions are executing during New York Open, creating a bias so I know which position to look for, and then having my position show on the screen, a breaker block plus an FVG. Yes, we're dealing with New York Open, so that has been confirmed. Yes, I was able to develop a bias, so I have a bias. No, there is no entry function on the screen. So I'm not doing anything. What did it take you to get this far in knowledge, Ash? Staring at this chart for the past 7 years. Show up to every single New York Open for 7 years in a row. Monday to Friday, from 8:30 a.m. to 11 a.m., stare at this chart for 7 years in a row. How to build discipline like yours. I've blown too many accounts. It's hard on the mind. First of all, you have to detach from the outcome. You have to be able to objectively analyze your results, right? So instead of being annoyed that you're blowing accounts, why don't you look at your prior data, right? Have you documented every single trade that you've taken? Let's start with the simple basics here, journaling. Have you documented every single trade that you've taken so that you can at least collect the data to review? Because when you have the data to be able to go back and look at and say, this is what I'm doing wrong. This is what I was feeling during the time of the position. This is how I acted. When you have defined data showing you your rights and wrongs, then it's a matter of having mental and emotional intelligence to review that data objectively. Don't get annoyed when you're looking at the data. Just write out a pros and cons list. What did I do good? What did I do bad? Then once you've analyzed thousands of trades and you have a large history of records, you can say, oh, every time I did this, it worked out. Every time I did that, it didn't work out. You can be able to see those justifications to your actions. You can see that on Monday morning, when you're very excited to get into a trade, you end up losing that trade. Well, yeah, that eagerness, that impulsiveness is probably holding you back from thinking through probabilities. You're thinking emotionally instead of thinking logically. But you're only ever going to realize that if you have a journal. So we need to start from the beginning, and you need to document every single day. Go look at how old my Discord is. My Discord's 6 years old. I've been documenting in it every single day. No holidays or off-the-screen activities sometimes. Well, first of all, 8:30 to 11 is not the entire day. That's only a couple hours of your day. Second of all, the market is closed on holidays, so yes, we do have holidays. But yes, that's a lot of time. You got... Sorry to tell you this, but like, if you think that you're going to be profitable in your first year, I'm gonna sit here and tell you that you're probably lying. Anybody that tells you they have a 90% win rate, I'm telling you that they're lying. Anybody that tells you that it takes a couple weeks or a couple months, that's wrong. It's going to take years. Put it this way. A doctor goes to college for what, like 10, 15 years? He doesn't get paid. Matter of fact, he has to pay to go to college. For like 15 years in a row, somebody pays for their education in hope to get a career. Once they get done with their education, that's when they get a career and start to get paid. Yet you guys come in here thinking that you're going to get paid in your first couple weeks or first couple months or first couple years. Like, you got to deal with delayed gratification. If you can't deal with that, then we'll see if you're still here standing in a couple years from now. We'll see if you'll pay for your education. We'll see if you can complete your education. And we'll see if you ever make it to the career. There's nothing easy about this. And it takes a lot of time. Would you take the trade if it displaces to the breaker block you marked before? I have nothing marked on the screen. There is no trade here. Once again, I will show you if there is a trade, and that's why there's nothing shown on the screen right now. There is no trade to take. There is no breaker block. There is no unicorn. It's that simple. I started college at 18. I got my first doctor paycheck at 32. Wow. Phenomenal. First and foremost, congratulations and amazing job. But that proves exactly what I'm trying to talk about here. That proves exactly what I'm talking about. Can you go through the education to even have the chance of getting a career? A lot of people don't realize that in the trading business. They think that they should instantly be rewarded because they're here and trying and working hard. That's not the case. Can you teach how you trade? Yeah, just watch the playlist on my YouTube called the Unicorn Model playlist. Then go to my prior live streams and watch all of my prior live streams. I talk about my model every single time I go live with everyone. I'm a physician and currently on my way to profitability and leave the rat race. Yep, see, that's exactly why we all do this. To be able to have that time freedom, to be able to have that location freedom, that financial freedom, to not have to rely on a job. You will get there. I am certain that you put your mind to it. You can achieve anything that you put your mind to. Just don't put any limitations on yourself. Don't put any type of time frame. Don't put any type of financial standing. Be objective to the results and always put your family and health first. All right, if this turns into a huge wick, we're definitely closing up shop. If this is just If they really just wicked it all the way higher like that, we are done for the day. Is it because of your data that you target 2R? So understanding your target is just as important as understanding your entry and exit. Right? This holds you back from being greedy. It holds you back from being fearful. It gives you a clear understanding of when you're done, and that's the most important part. Aiming for 2R gives you a defined location to be done with a trade. Instead of falling into the greedy, intrusive mindset of thinking, hopefully this will move more. Hopefully it will keep going. Hopefully this is the one. 2R is a defined location, and it shows you when to be done. That's just as important as knowing your entry and exit. Also, there's very minimum amount of times where we get a trending market, right? The market normally is in consolidation. So trying to achieve more than what's given to you is low probability. You're not going to see every day we have a 500-point range. That's low probability. So take what's given to you. That's the reason for 2R. Hey Ash, how long did it take for you to become profitable? My first year I was profitable. To be completely honest, that was complete beginner's luck. Right? That was just me just seeing what this was. I completely think that was beginner's luck. I just randomly got lucky on some options, and I ended up taking that money and bringing my wife on a vacation. The second and third year were awful. Just strategy hopping, signal services, the whole nine. Just testing theories, looking for results. The second and third year were horrible. The fourth year and fifth year is when I started to see some profitability. The sixth year and seventh year is when I reached some goals of mine financially. So 4 to 5 years is what I would put that at. 4 to 5 years to actually achieve profitability. It also needs to be said that profitability is not a guarantee, right? Just because you become profitable does not mean you stay profitable. Okay, hear me clearly. If you have a profitable year, the next year, you can wash away all of those profits. It only takes one bad opportunity to ruin all of your hard work. Profitability is not a guaranteed thing. Just because you become profitable does not mean you remain profitable. Who are the owners of these charts? What makes these patterns in the candles? I have no clue, and I have no interest in even figuring that out. I don't think there's an owner. It's an open market. Anybody can participate. So I'm not interested in taking this whatsoever. Look at this huge wick here. I don't like that at all. on top of the fact that we don't know if this will be an FVG or not. Right, price did sweep out these lows. After sweeping out the low, you get a change in the state of delivery here. All right, so this is what it looks like. We'll see if they leave an FEG. Candle's not closed yet. You got to wait another 50 seconds. Right, if they invalidate this FEG, it looks even worse than it already does. See if they leave the FEG open. All right, so you have a sweep of the lows. Then you have a bullish change in the state of delivery with an FVG aligned with it. This is what I would look for right here. Let's see if they want to provide an entry, run higher, or go to stop loss. This is what we'll look at today. My strategy during backtesting, giving 1 year of very good positive results, but for the next, negative results. Is it good, or the strategy should give overall positive results? There's a random distribution of probabilities. Okay, the market is forever changing. There's fundamental factors that will change the market in itself. For example, here's one, right? There was less volatility during the Biden administration than there is right now during the Trump administration. Right? So there's fundamentals that occur that change the probabilities. So just because you had 1 year of bad testing and 1 year of good testing, that doesn't mean it's the model. There will be ups and downs. The market is forever changing. Right? Like, for example, the volatility in 2025 is 10 times larger than the volatility in the year 2000. Go look at the difference in the size of candlesticks. The market is always changing. We have to adapt with it. No change in the state of delivery on the NQ 5-minute. Change in state of delivery would be right here. So no, it has not. Not yet. Why don't you take the first breaker that you marked beforehand? Anytime a new swing low is swept, you'd have a new breaker. Right? Take a look at this real quick. Ready? Swing low, swept. Swing low, swept. Swing low, swept. Each time a new swing low is swept, I'm no longer considering the prior one. Right, so once this got swept, I'm no longer looking at this. You have to use the most recent information, right? So, ready? Let's do it again. Once this got swept, I'm no longer looking at this information. You have to use the most recent information. Right? So the most recent information is right here. This would be the breaker. That's what you're seeing here. Swing low, swept. Swing low, swept. Use the most recent information. Hi, Ash. Does a swing high have to be a wick with two lower wicks on the sides? So the definition of a swing high is a 3-candle pattern where the first candle and third candle have lower highs compared to the second. It does not matter if it's a wick or a body, as long as it has lower highs on each side of it. Same thing with swing lows. Same thing with equal lows, right? So look at this right here. See these equal lows right here? This is still a swing low because the equal lows have higher lows on each side of it. See this here? See this here? A swing low can be equal lows as long as it fits the definition of swing low. Same thing with swing highs. So the BB here is not including the wick. I'm not sure where the communication is, but this is a change in the state of delivery. I did not call this a breaker block. This is a change in the state of delivery. I even wrote it right here. I never deliver. Two different things. So, for example, if you were to mark a breaker here, which one would it be? Throw it in chat. If we were to mark a breaker block, which candles would be the breaker block here? Which one would be the breaker block here? See who knows. Took a while to get the answer, but Tyree, phenomenal job. Phenomenal job, Tyree. Only person here sitting here saying, since it's not clear, I would not use it. You have a swing low here. You have a swing high here. You have a swing low here. You have a swing high here. You have a new swing low here. Then a new high here. Look at all this consolidation here. I mean, that's what I've been trying to point to you all this entire morning. The fact that it's not clear. This is just consolidation in here. I don't want to use a breaker block. There's nothing defined here. This is what I want it to look like. A swing low, a swing high, a new low, then a new high. This is what the chart currently looks like. Can you see the difference? There's a reason why I'm not pointing to things. I'm not going to sit here and hold myself to lower probabilities. I'm only going to point to things that are higher probability. This looks disgusting. This top example right here looks horrible. This is what I want to trade. Right here. Yes, definitely a tricky question, but I have been saying this the entire stream. The fact that there's nothing clear here is the reason why we have to be patient. The only time I want to be participating when it's so clearly obvious that I cannot miss it. But it will never always look textbook. Exactly, that's the point that I'm trying to make here. Is that the majority of the time you should be on the sidelines doing nothing. And the very few times that it looks very clean, that's when you should execute. That is exactly what I'm trying to point out here. Majority of the time, if you cannot clearly identify what is happening, then don't risk. For everybody that's pointing to NQ, throw a 1 in the chat if you think this is a breaker block. Throw a 2 in the chat if you do not think this is a breaker block. Very good job, almost everyone. Very good job, almost everyone. There is no swing high here. This cannot be a breaker block. Ready? There's a high here. Then we have a lower high. 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 Another lower high. Another lower high. Since there is no swing high, that cannot be a breaker block. You must have a swing low, then a swing high, then a new low, then a new high. Swing low, swing high, new swing low, new high. You don't have this right here. This is not a swing high. That cannot be a breaker block. It's not a breaker block. So we'll go back to the ES chart. We'll see if they ever want to do anything with the change in the state of delivery. Like I said, this is what we're looking at for today. Once again, a change in the state of delivery is not a unicorn. Hear me clearly. A change in the state of delivery is not a unicorn. So for somebody that only trades the unicorn model, what would that mean for me? For somebody that trades only the unicorn model, I would not take this trade. It's very plain and simple. It's an easy decision for me. All right, so we can still wait and watch, see what happens, but I've already told you my decision. I only execute the unicorn model. Since this is not a unicorn model, I will not be taking the trade. When we get a result to this position, we'll begin to wrap up stream. But let's wait and see if the justifications to our actions provide us with another good decision. Right? Same thing as I mentioned with the 1 minute trade earlier this morning. I saved myself from an unnecessary loss simply by knowing myself. Simply by knowing that I don't trade the 1 minute chart. That 1 minute trade that we looked at on NQ led to a loss. So simply just by knowing myself and following the justifications to my actions, that leads me to avoiding unnecessary losses. And I'm here to say the same thing right now. I only trade the unicorn model, so since this is not a unicorn, I did not take the trade. Well, let's see what happens. I think it's because the bias was off the 4 hour, showed the short all morning. If you trade the 1 minute chart, then okay, use the 4 hour as your bias. but I don't trade the 1 minute chart, so I'm not looking at the 4 hour as my bias. Can I pull up silver? I just pulled up a position on my chart, so I'm going to focus here. I need to see the results to this. For anybody that's still around, if you found any value from today's stream, do me a favor, like the video, sub to the channel. We've been going live every Wednesday at New York Open for quite some time now. Been multiple years at this point. If I'm helping you with your trading, providing any value, do me the small favor of liking the video and subbing to the channel. Let's see what we get for a result. Once we get a result to this position, we are going to wrap up the live stream. So you don't enter in the pre-existing breaker. No, I don't use pre-existing breakers. Yep, I'm only looking to use the unicorn model. That's the only model I trade. What's the higher time frame point of interest? We swept a swing low that was inside of a bullish fair value gap. Swing low, swept. Hourly swing low that was swept inside of a bullish fair value gap. Higher time frame point of interest. Yes, you can trade the unicorn model in the PM session. PM session starts right here. $13.30. Yeah, once again, the higher time frame point of interest was a swing low that was swept inside of a bullish fair value gap. Take a look at the hourly chart. In the last 2 to 3 days, what price action would you label as accumulation, manipulation, distribution? I'm not exactly sure what you're referring to here. The bank holiday was our accumulation. Tuesday set the low of the week for manipulation. And now we're in Wednesday looking for a distribution higher Wednesday and Thursday. See if it gets the final push to plus 2R. Like I said, once we get a result to this position, I'm going to wrap up the live stream. So, phenomenal job this morning. There's your plus 2R there. If anybody took this trade, you have to be closing it for a profit now. Amazing job this morning. Creating a game plan. Waiting until we found something bullish. We remained bullish the entire time. We did not change our game plan. We were patient enough to wait until we found something bullish, and then we finally pointed to it. So if you took this position, throw a W in chat. We will begin to wrap up live stream with that. Let me know if this stream provided value for you. If you were able to take advantage of this position, throw a W in the chat. Amazing job here this morning. Created the game plan. We were patient enough to follow the game plan. We were not deterred by current price action. We continued to develop our game plan. And we were patient enough to wait for something that we could clearly identify. Very good job to everyone. I do want to say thank you for everybody that participated today. I greatly appreciate every single one of you. I am going to begin to wrap up the stream now that we've gotten a result to the position. Time to head over to the fitness center. I hope everybody has a great day, and I will see you all in Discord. Have a nice day, everyone.